So, welcome back to the podcast. We are on episode 3 of season 2. And in this episode, we are continuing on what we started last week, which was the spooky trick or treat. So, this was in preparation for October. So, if you're listening to this at the time it was recorded, we are at the end of September, and I wanted to get everybody ready to dive into the October season and have some fun. So this is the printable. If you're going to go on and download it from the Etsy shop or from our website, you can find it there. Again, our Etsy shop is Life, Edit, and Design, and that's the same name of the podcast, so it makes it easy to remember, right? So I created a cute little cover, and our mission here was, again, spooky was to get out of your comfort zone. Trick was to do the unexpected, do something you're not used to, and treat was to treat yourself good. So let's dive into how that's all working out for you, what's some of the things that you've been able to do, and just share with you some of my experiences. So I started out here, you can see the spread, it's a 2-page spread, giving you some ideas of what you could put in. Let me get a little bit of the shadow off of there for you. Giving you ideas of what you can put into your list. So I definitely recommend, first of all, how many things will you commit to, and then giving yourself some ideas too on the surprise. So this is the spooky list, this is your trick list, and just start to fill them out. What I found when I did this was that, first of all, some of the ideas came to me very quickly, some of them took a little bit of time, and you're going to find that you're going to keep adding to this list and crossing off. So one of the things I'd put on the list was a hot air balloon ride, and we were going to the balloon festival, and we went last weekend, but the line was so long to hop on a ride, so I didn't actually get to do that. But my goal was to commit to 7 things, and I still have plenty of things to choose from. And I found this was really fun. You know, at first I was kind of like, oh, I don't know what to come up with. And then as the ideas started coming in, you realize just how many things you've been putting off that you really want to do. And that just kind of jumped out at me. I'm really starting to have fun with it. And I checked off a couple of things. I already got 3 things done right before, right as we started this project. So one was to go to a hot yoga class. I've always heard about them and was curious and wanted to go check it out. And I guess the jury's out on that. If you haven't been to a hot yoga class, oh, excuse me, Sazzy's coming up to say hello. So excuse the little puppy head if you see it in the camera. I felt, you know, it was warm. It was nice, which is what you expected, but I didn't feel like I could breathe really well. So to do a strenuous class in a hot yoga room for me would have been tough. So Sazzy's pushing our little screen away here. Sorry about that. So what I feel is, you know, it was great to try it. I bought a 2-class pass, so I plan to go again tomorrow night and just try, like there's a candlelight one that I'm going to try. So it was just interesting that, you know, just because you put it on your list doesn't mean it has to become a permanent part of your list, I guess. So as you're starting these ideas, you're not being married to them. So you're going to put things on, you're going to try it out. If you love it, great. And if you don't like it, that's okay. The other thing we tried was going to, out here we have something called the Life Church, and my daughter was just curious about it. So this was actually something on her list that she really wanted to do, and she didn't want to go by herself. And so we went to that, and we felt like, you know, it was really cool. It was a different experience, but it definitely wasn't something that is going to be a normal part of our lives. So it's a chance for you, you know, as you do this list of what scares you, it's a chance to try things on and not commit to them. So, you know, you can say to people, hey, you know, I've challenged myself to try, in my case, 7 brand new things this month. And, you know, but I'm not saying I'm definitely going to have to do it. So it kind of gives you a great excuse to try a whole bunch of new stuff without having to say, I am now a person who goes to hot yoga. It's just like, no, I'm going to try it. You weren't quitting it. You weren't committing to it long term. You were saying, hey, I'm doing this challenge and this is what I'm going to do. And I'm trying it out. So that is, I think this is a great tool, I guess, to help you expand your life without commitment. So again, embrace this, really have some fun with it. Don't be afraid to cross things out. And excuse me. Another thing I really noticed is you have to plan this stuff. If you don't, it's not going to happen. We have golf planned actually for this weekend to play with my husband, but I haven't planned some of these other things yet. And I've noticed, especially like this trail ride, I'm like, if I don't put this in there and we don't book something, it's never going to happen. So I really have to get it into my calendar. One of the things I'm doing is actual real life bullet journaling. So that's why you'll see later on I'm not using the weekly pages in here because I really am trying to do the bullet journal. But if you don't schedule this stuff, it's never going to happen. So make sure that after you put this stuff on your list, you transfer it to whatever planner you're using, whatever system you're using, get it on a calendar, like on the side bar, I have in this packet, there is a monthly planner. We'll flip to that real quick. So you have a notes section in this planner, but then you also have your October planner. So you could even write it down right here. Just get your notes down, or actually put it in somewhere, like this is what I'm going to do on Saturday, this is what I'm going to do on Sunday. If you don't commit to a time, I can tell you it's not going to happen, because these aren't things that are part of your normal routine. So, and in my case, some of these things were scheduled, like you could only go at certain times. So going to the yoga class, I had to go when the yoga class was happening. I had to pick the yoga class that fit me the best. So I had to think ahead. I had to look at what I was going to do and then go and schedule it into my calendar and then make the appointments, buy the pass to go. With going to this Life Church, I just had to show up, but you had to know which one to attend, which one wasn't going to be so crowded, and make the time to drive there. So if you don't schedule these things, this list is going to fall flat. So it's one thing to come up with a list. The next thing you have to do is transfer it to your actual journal. The next list I started to work on was the trick list. And I jotted down a few things, mix up my morning routine, my lunch routine, my night routine, try some different dinners, meaning, go somewhere different, like even eat in a different room in the house. When we were kids, we used to eat on blankets on the floor. So it was kind of like come up with some other ways of approaching dinner, and then mix up my shakes. And I wrote this, and then I kind of forgot about it because I was really focused over here. And what's cool, I think, is that once you start to open your mind to this, these concepts, when you say, okay, I'm going to do the spooky, I'm going to do the trick, and I'm going to do the treat. Once you start thinking about those, even if you're not actively doing it, it starts to filter in. And it was really cool. Like I was over here and I was focused on getting these things scheduled in, and I noticed these things started popping in on their own. I wound up, so far I've tried, this is actually 2 different morning routines I've tried. So those are hash marks. I've tried only one different lunchtime routine, and my night routine actually wound up turning into trying different commutes home, because there's a lot of construction on my normal route, and then even my backup route has a lot of construction. So I wound up finding a third route that I've really liked so far, and I might try a fourth route, I'm not sure, but I like this route so much better that it really kind of helped me, start to come up with a whole different routine, and it's a lot less stressful. And then the other thing I decided to do was to start listening to an audiobook, so I'm not so focused on the traffic. So this night routine change actually became a commute routine change, and now I have an audiobook I'm listening to, and I have a different route that I'm trying. So even though I wasn't focused on this, the fact that I wrote it down and it was in the back of my mind started to bring it in, and I think that's just really, really cool. So take the time to write the list. Even if you're not positive, you can go back definitely and add things to the list. The new shake recipes, I've already kind of got some ideas. Again, just because as I was making my shake, I was like, oh, what if I tried to mix this up? What if I, switch these things around? And it wasn't like I was consciously saying, let me come up with a new recipe. It was just as I was doing my normal routine, it started to pop into my mind like, oh, it would be nice to mix it up. So maybe I will do that. And so I guess, having this the unpredictable list, the doing something out of your ordinary, is really kind of going to happen more organically. Where this you have to schedule, I'm finding that this side, the unexpected, is more organic. So get some ideas down, but then let them kind of percolate and bubble up. You may not want to schedule this as much. At least that's been my experience. You may feel differently, but that's been my experience, is that these kind of happen almost naturally, and you have to go back and kind of remind yourself, what did I put down here? And then start to look for those opportunities. But like my morning routine last night, I could not sleep at all. So about 3:45, I finally gave up, came downstairs and read a book. And I wound up reading and completely changing my morning routine because I had a book in my hand and I just kept going and I didn't do what I normally would do in the morning. So you'll find these opportunities pop up. And now I'm aware, I'm like, oh, wait, this is an opportunity to change my morning routine. Let's see what happens. So instead of putting down the book and rushing to do my normal routine, I stayed with this and let it kind of evolve into a different routine. So those are some things that you can think about. So again, plan, and maybe this side, the surprise list, is a little bit more organic. Sazzy's leaving now. And then over here we have the treat list. Treat yourself good. So first is to come up with some rules. So I said I must do my 7 spooky things for anything that costs money. So getting a massage, active release therapy, a pedicure. These are kind of big dollars things. So I have to do my spooky things to do one of these. And then I have to do at least 4 trick things to do the other things, like the candlelight dinner, the extra Starbucks coffee. So as I'm looking through this, I'm like, okay, well, I've already done 1, 2, 3 of my trick things. So I'm 1 away from either doing a candlelight dinner with my husband or having an extra Starbucks coffee. Woohoo! And then on this, I've done 3. I have to do 7. So I'm planning on tackling golf with my husband, and I'm planning on driving my father-in-law's RV this weekend. So I should be able to check off 2 more. This Michael's class, I'm giving it a lot of thought, but I haven't actually done that yet. So again, come up with your rules over here of what you're going to do to treat yourself. So I'm sorry, here's your ideas. What do you want to do to treat yourself? And then what are your rules? Do you have to do something first in order to get those treats? Or maybe you have no rules at all. Maybe you just say, I have to feel like I deserve it, and as long as I deserve it, I can do that. So for me, I felt like I needed rules because these were cost items, and I didn't think it was, I didn't want to just go rush out and spend money. I have to push myself. I felt like I had to earn those. Where these, I feel like they're just for joy, but again, I'm giving myself a little bit of incentive to try other things because I tend to be a creature of habit, and it's funny, as I was driving into work, my commute to work, I've been very reluctant to change because I don't have to think, it just goes and the traffic's not too bad. Where my afternoon was more of a hassle and I was more willing to change it. But I've thought about a couple of times my morning routine. I'm like, why am I so resistant to changing my morning drive? I don't want to change that. I want to go the same way. So you'll start to become aware of some of those things. And that's where you might want to jump over to the notes page and start to write down some of the things that come up. So you have a written notes page and you have a doc grid page, whichever works for you. And start to journal some of the stuff that's coming up for you. Like, why do I not want to change my morning commute, but I'm so happy to change my afternoon commute? What is it about that? How do I feel about listening to audiobooks? Like, I started listening to my audiobook today. I listened to it on the way home yesterday, and I thought, okay, I'll pop it in and listen to it on my way to work today. And I found that didn't work for me because I was so tired. Like, I can't divide my attention. I can't listen to the book and fully concentrate on the book and drive. I have to just drive. So it's just funny. You'll start to notice some of those things, and it's because I was so tired, or because I'm just not as alert in the mornings and I can't divide my attention. I don't know. So I want to play with that. So this is also a chance to really explore. So not only is this a challenge, yes, it's a fun challenge, have fun doing it, but it's a chance to get to know yourself better. It's a chance to maybe come up with some new activities, new things you might enjoy, and it's a chance to kind of mix things up and find out maybe you have a routine that, a new routine that you like even better than your old routine. Or maybe you have a new way of doing something. Maybe you're brushing your teeth with the opposite hand and you kind of like that challenge. I don't know. But I feel like this goes so much beyond just the month of October and just beyond the theme of what we're doing. This is really about making some changes in your life, giving yourself an opportunity, a fun way to mix things up, and then see if any of them stick for you. So I don't think hot yoga is going to stick for me. The Life Church definitely isn't going to stick for me. But the bullet journaling has been interesting. I went over, here is my bullet journal, and I'm not the pretty person, so I don't have all these pretty pages. I really have kind of down and dirty, sorry, it's kind of dark here, but my pages are really just about getting it done and learning how to use the bullet journal. And I'm actually also over here reading the book. This is the guy, Ryder Carroll, who actually came up with the whole bullet journaling system, and I'm reading his book, which has been very good, and I'm almost done with that book. So again, these are things that I am learning because I'm pushing myself to do something. Excuse me, a little hair there. I'm pushing myself, and that's something, bullet journaling will probably become something that's more of a permanent thing in my life. So you never know what you're going to find. And I'm really excited. I want to learn how to drive an RV, but I'm terrified of it. So, this is just a chance to push yourself, do those things you always wanted to do but never did, and find some new passions, some new interests, some new hobbies. So I hope you're enjoying this. Give me some feedback. I'd love to hear how your progress is going. You can find me over on Instagram at Life Edit and Design. You'll see some of these pictures over there. You'll see this podcast is also over there as well. So just stop in and tell me how it's going. Oh, and I just want to show you one other page that we have. I'm not using this right now because, again, I'm using the bullet journal. But on this page, you have a weekly tracker. So you have some of the things that you want to do for the week. You can track how many of these things. I use little icons this time. So, for every spooky thing. So I've done 1, 2, 3 spooky things. I could use a better pen for that, I guess, so you could really see it. So 1, 2, 3, and I've done tricks. I've done 3 tricks, right? And I haven't done any treats yet, but so you can start to mark this up as you go through. And then over here you have a weekly planner, so you can start to just keep all your plans in one place, so you don't have to keep flipping back and forth through different planners if you don't want to. Or you could use your trusty planner if you already have one. So if you don't have one, use this, and use this to plan out your challenge. You can pop these right in. As you see, I pop these right into my Happy Planner. You could do that. You could 3-hole punch them and put them into whatever system you're using. Or again, you could transfer it over to your bullet journal, which is what I'm doing to actually have some of these activities get planned onto my calendar. So again, I'd love to hear from you, love to hear how it's going, and that'll be it for this time. We'll see you in the next podcast episode.